like a dream come true, man. You watch these guys at the magazine, you grew up admiring them. There you are, standing on stage with them, and to be the winner and the victor. Wow. Thank you, Lord.
Lee Haney, at the age of 65, had always prided himself on being a man in tune with his body, his health, and the physical abilities that had defined much of his life. As a renowned athlete in his prime, his fame had been built on the iron will to push his body to its limits, always setting records, always training with an unmatched intensity. But one cool autumn morning, after a rigorous workout session, he looked at himself in the mirror, and something clicked. It wasn't vanity. It wasn't about being young again. It was something deeper. He observed his reflection, studying the lines of his face, the sharpness in his eyes, and the lean muscle tone that still dominated his frame. He realized that, despite his age, he looked as though time had passed him by without leaving a mark. The body that had once belonged to a 30-year-old seemed to be miraculously stuck in time. At that moment, Haney knew something was different. Most people, when they reach his age, begin to show signs of wear and tear. But there he stood, taller than most of his peers, a testament to the disciplined lifestyle he'd chosen. His secret wasn't just in his genetics or the years spent pushing his limits on the gym floor. It was something deeper, something more personal that had become a part of him over the decades. But what was it? The world might never truly understand, but in his mind, Lee Haney was beginning to grasp it. Lee didn't wake up one morning, feeling young again, without something prompting him to take action. For years, people had asked him how he managed to stay in shape, how his body seemed immune to the ravages of aging. He had always given the standard answer: dedication, consistency, and a strong sense of discipline. But now, as he reflected on his own transformation, he realized there was more. It had started a decade ago when Haney began studying the idea of longevity, not just in athletic performance, but in overall health. He dove deep into nutrition, supplements, and regenerative practices. At first, it was simple curiosity, but soon it became an obsession. What was it that kept the body young? What kind of foods, workouts, or even mindset could slow or halt the inevitable march of time? During his research, Haney met a series of experts, nutritionists, doctors, and holistic practitioners. He began experimenting with different diets, focusing not only on building muscle, but on feeding his body in ways that prevented the deterioration of his cells. Each tweak he made to his routine felt like a breakthrough. But it wasn't just the food that was making a difference. It was his mindset. Haney's dedication to pushing through pain and discomfort, pushing through the age-related physical challenges most would simply accept as part of getting older, was his true secret. Lee had found that living with intention, being mindful of how each action affected his body, was key to maintaining youthfulness. He wasn't just exercising. He was taking action with a purpose. Slowly, but surely, the results began to speak for themselves. As the years rolled on, Haney realized that his own body had adapted in a way that defied what many thought possible for a man his age. Months passed, and Lee Haney found himself even more energized, even more driven than he had been in his youth. His workouts intensified. He could feel his muscles tightening, his endurance growing, his overall health reaching new heights. He was no longer just a man who defied the clock in appearance. He had become a living embodiment of what it meant to be in control of one's health and aging process. One day, after a particularly grueling workout, Haney sat down to reflect. He thought back to when he first started in the fitness world, when he was just a young man, full of ambition and hunger for success. But this time, there was something different about him. As he looked at himself, he wasn't just impressed by the youthful look he saw in the mirror. He was amazed at how his body felt. So much more capable than it had any right to be at 65. It was then that he realized what had set him apart from others in his field. It wasn't just that he had the willpower or the work ethic that others lacked. It was his mindset. his ability to look at aging and say, "Not yet." He had never allowed the concept of aging to dictate his limits. The physical benefits came from more than just exercise. It was a combination of mental clarity, inner peace, and a relentless desire to improve. Lee Haney had found the secret to feeling 30 when you're 65, but it was something that had taken years of trial, error, and a deep, personal journey. And yet, even as he sat there, thinking of how far he had come, he realized there was more. He was beginning to understand that the secret wasn't a single moment of discovery. It was a series of decisions made daily, a commitment to maintain balance between body, mind, and soul. As the years went on, Haney became more than just an example of youthful vitality. He became a mentor to many, sharing his journey and his methods with younger generations. But he did more than just teach. He inspired. Through speaking engagements, books, and workshops, Lee Haney began teaching others not just how to live longer, but how to live better. Lee's approach to health wasn't just physical, it was holistic. He spoke about the importance of mental health, of setting goals, of not just accepting life as it comes, but actively shaping it. He spoke of eating well, working hard, and maintaining a strong community of people who shared your values. And most importantly, he spoke about the most profound secret: never, ever letting age become a barrier to your best self. Over the years, Haney's life became a testament to a philosophy that was less about age and more about mindset. He found that living with intention could lead to a deeper, more meaningful life. And through his own journey, he had unlocked the secret to preserving youth, an ageless mindset that fueled every action, every decision, and every moment of his life. He wasn't just a man who had defied aging, he had redefined it.